Hi, I'm Frank. I've been working on a game called Castle Wars. It's still a working title, but it's a first-person sword combat game, heavily inspired by a Halo Reach custom game of the same name. I am currently, let me just swap the camera really quick, working on sort of the player controller, that sort of stuff. I haven't really gotten to combat yet because I'm still working on getting stuff client-side predictive. We have a bit of a player controller to play around with and sort of make things with. There's more movement capabilities than in the last prototype. So we have flying, which I want to mess around with, and we have these two things over here. We have an anti-gravity zone, which allows you to then walk on the ceiling. Whoop. And if we climb up this ladder, we have this planet that you can actually walk on. So I have decided that today, for a few reasons, I am going to build a couple of maps. And by couple, I mean 3. Average English language user, couple means 3. The first map is just going to be a planet where the base is on the 2 poles. We're going to have one base on the top, one base on the bottom, and you'll spawn and then just go to the other side. They'll be color coded. I'm not 100% sure what I want the design of the planet to be, but it's not going to be like too big. It's going to be like fighting on a moon, effectively. That's map number 1. Map number 2 is going to be a big old room like this, where the gravity of the entire room changes on some set interval. I'm thinking about making it customizable, so I'm not going to say like every 30 seconds or something, but every X amount of seconds we'd swap from fighting on this level of ground to the other level of ground. We'd basically just flip the gravity, and so we can have different maps on the 2 big ends of the room. Map number 3 is going to use the ability to fly. Basically going to be 2 space cruisers in space. I don't know where else they'd be. You're going to have the 2 bases in the hangars, and they're going to be facing each other. I'm going to make each map have its own video. So the first map I want to make is the planet one, and unfortunately, we got to do a little bit of setup stuff. So the first thing, I picked some names for what these maps are going to be called. These names are very temporary. I want to stress that they're a little temporary. How do I add things to this? I forgot. There's just a button right there. So space station, these 2 don't actually exist yet. What I'm going to do is just move these to the end. Actually, let's just add a couple. So these 2 are going to get moved to the end. They're maps that I plan on making. I actually have like a vision in my head for what they're going to be. This is just demo maps. So ideally it takes me about an hour to make each one to help me edit them. And also because I really don't want to be spending too long on these, I just want to see if they play well. So the first one, we're just going to call Planet. Working title. Next one is going to be called Cruisers, and the last one is going to be called Gravity Labs. And so changing this box, basically all that does is it lets us choose the map in the lobby editor. We're going to need to make scenes for each one and actually tell it what to load. So now if we go here, we have Planet, Cruisers, and Gravity Labs, as well as our other ones. Let's make some scenes. So the first one I want to make is Planet, but I'm going to create a scene for each one of these just so that we can load to them. Planet. All right. And now we're going to need in our network game director, because this is where we choose the map, maybe? I don't actually remember. We need to add some entries. So if we have Planet, we want to load Planet. If we have Cruisers, we want to load Cruisers. And then lastly, if we have Gravity Labs, we want to load the one of the same name. We should be able to load each of those scenes individually. I need to remove this nerd herd scene. As you can see, I started changing everything to be in the Castle Wars project folder, so I'm actually just gonna remove that because almost everything from the last prototype is in this one other than combat and some like very, very basic AI enemies. But now if we create a lobby, we should be able to load in those maps. So multiplayer, local, host, close you out. So if we have Planet, we'll load to Planet and we'll spawn someone, but we don't really have anything, so they're just falling. And it's going to be like that for the 3 of them. Those are our 3 basic maps. So now we can make the Planet map. So let's open it, and then the first thing that we want to do, I guess we're not going to be able to see anything. We want to remove that camera. So the first thing that I want to create is a 3D sphere. and this is going to be our planet. I'm going to center it at 0, 0, 0. I'm going to need to find a way to texture this later. But scale wise, I'm not 100% sure how big I want to go, because the one here, as we can kind of see, is 27 units. I guess that's diameter. So let's unload that. The sphere is going to be here, so planet, and actually I'm going to create an empty, and this is just going to be called level geometry. This is just so that I can keep everything sort of close, and I'm going to create another empty object which gets put in that scene for some reason, and this is going to be called map information. And why I do this is because we are going to need a map information component, which is going to contain our spawn points as well as a reference to our death camera. I typically leave the death camera as its own object. That way it's easy to get to and move around. It's just chill like that. But we'll do this later. I have a little checklist for what's going to need to happen. So we have our planet. We have our level geometry. I'm not 100% sure how big I want to make the sphere. This is the same size. It's a little larger than the one in the training ground. So maybe 75. As you can kind of see, it's not the highest quality sphere. So maybe actually let's load up Blender and let's create a sphere in there that's just going to be a little rounder. I haven't used Blender in a while, so you're going to have to forgive me for not remembering what I'm doing here. God, I don't even remember the last time I used this. There's got to be a way. Add. There we go. What's the difference between a UV sphere and an icosphere? That's not helpful. You're just going to get a bunch of live how does anything work here. Okay, we want to bring up the transform panel, so maybe window. No. Shift A. Where's F9? Which, okay. Is that a thing? F9? Oh, there we go. Okay, so now we 360 segments. 360 rings. It did not like that. Okay, maybe that was too much. Yeah, that was too much. Okay. Oh. All right. That's a good mesh. Now we just want to export this as probably an OBJ. Okay, it's taking a second. And now if we go here, we should have our OBJ file. Okay, so now if we bring in this planet and we make it 0, 0, we can do 75, 75, and 75. And look at that. That's a lot smoother than the one that we made in here. All right, and now we want to just add a sphere collider and a radius of 1. Okay, that's I think about as close as our sphere collider is going to get. I don't want to use a mesh collider for it, but worst case, we use a mesh collider and then we're good. I'll just use that. Fine. One big mesh collider. Okay, so we have our planet, and the next thing that I want to do is just create an empty, and we're just going to call this atmosphere. We're going to make a sphere collider, and this is going to be 1.5. So this is going to be our trigger zone, which we're going to, okay, I never said it, but this trigger zone is just going to be where we exist within. It is where the planet tells us what gravity we should be using. So I guess next thing to do is just to make a couple of spawn points and see if we can spawn on different sides. Here we go. Spawn point 1. Why did you put that all the way over there? So we're going to want 70, 76. I think what might help, because sort of building on one of these is going to be sort of not very fun. What I kind of want to do is I'm going to set this at 0, 0. I'm going to just make an empty, which is also going to be at 0, 0. And I'm going to call this the spawn point holder. So now if we add a spawn point to the spawn point holder, you see how we can now rotate. That rotation's not going to work, but we can rotate around the planet. And that's just going to make things easier to place. We'll create, what's a good circle number? Let's do 8. Rotate this one 3 degrees here and 1.5. Okay. So look at that. Now we have our blue spawn points And let's create an empty parent. And we can real easily make red spawn points. So let's just go, we're gonna need to select all of them. Set this to red. And then this red spawn point, we can rotate. Oh, well that's that axis. So we're gonna rotate it 180 here. If we go, okay, we can flip the camera that way. We have our rotations here, or we have our spawn points here, and they are on the planet. We're gonna go map information, add that component, and I'm just gonna lock this so we can find all of our spawn points. You just drag them in there. Boom. I want to add a death camera, and this is just gonna go out. So we want it 0 on the Y and 0 on the X, and then -200, so that way you can see the whole planet. And if we go multiplayer, we host a game, set it to planet, and just I want to set it to team 2, which I believe is red. Look at that. Something's fucked. So we're inside the planet. You can see that we are actually, once we pass the center, we change to the other direction and then we fall. So that's fun. It could be because it's taking a second to get the planet. So actually the simulation is letting us fall through first. So I actually want to see if this is going to work on blue team. Sorry, I'm really bad at talking and also really bad at doing things while I'm talking. Okay, so we want to set it to planet. There we go. Oh, maybe we just have a collision issue because we have our planet here, which has this mesh collider. Oh, we don't have a mesh. Okay, so then what we should do is we should put the mesh collider here, not here. And then we have our atmosphere, which is like that. Okay, let's see if that was enough to fix it. If so, great. Love that. We know that the planet is getting set because the gravity is changing when we cross the center. Boop. Start game. There we go. We're on the dark side. I'm going to try it on the red team. And if that works, then spawn points is set. Planet and join the red team. Sweet. So other than it swaps the rotation as we spawn, which is something that we're going to want to actually look into, we don't actually set that rotation until we're there. Okay, that's probably going to be a polished thing to just work on later. I'll write that down. So there we go. Okay, now here comes the fun part. We get to actually build part of the map. So I'm going to start everything. Basically, I'm going to try and build a base on the top, and I'm just going to copy it and rotate it, sort of like we did with the red and blue spawn points. Pro builder time. Okay, let's quickly make that a 1 1 1, and then reset all the rotation. 76, 0, and 0. There we go. So we're just going to call this blue base, and because you can sort of go in any direction, I kind of want to make some component that, like the player, will set the color based on what team we set the base to. And we can expand that later so we can change the colors. But like on the player pawn, if we go here and on the visual, on the capsule, we have a player team, which just has our capsule. And depending on what team our player driver has, we set some colors. And so eventually we can actually set it up so that we can change what colors each team is, but we don't need to do that now. And I'm just going to make it so that there's like some sort of flags on each side to indicate which team has which side. Okay, let's go here, and probably -7. Okay, and then I'm just going to use this as a guide to build a cube, or to build outer walls for the most part. Negative. Okay. So we're going to take this and we're just going to extrude and extrude. Pro Builder is actually like super sick that it's just built in to Unity. Now we can get rid of that object entirely. That's that one. Okay, and then lastly we can go here, and that is our little, that's that. So I'm gonna just really quickly select the four corners, bring them down, just so that we can sort of have like an elevated base. We'll keep it all square for now. We want to bring our blue spawn points. You know, I probably could have had just one spawn point holder and moved around the individual ones. It's fine. 77.75 is not enough. We want 78. Cool. So now we have a little bit of a base. Now let's build out some corners. We gotta make this look at least a little castle-like. I don't know how high that is, but it's plenty high. Okay, fine. Oop. We're just gonna use these, and we're gonna sort of build out a little bit more of the wall structure, and then I also want to build these out so we can have some amount of a ramp. I really hate that it does that. Okay, we'll make the ramps their own thing. 78. I just want to align this on a grid so that way it's easier to align with everything else. See, it like fits flat in. Okay. So now we have a ramp. We should probably just be rotating everything around some axis, but it's okay. 270. Nope, just kidding. 90. All right. So there we go. Those are some ramps. I'm just gonna bring these over to each of the ramp entrances. I know this map is gonna be kind of confusing to play because everything is gonna be like, what direction are people coming from? I want to take, I think design wise we're gonna try this out. So let's bring these down. Yeah, roughly character height. And this is sort of what I want the base to look like, at least at the start. So I'm gonna create another Pro Builder object, but this time I want it to be a cylinder. It doesn't have to be that great of a cylinder. -7? Yeah. Just so it's on the little pole. Okay. And then cylinder sides, we'll just make that 12 so that it looks enough like that. Smooth. Yeah. And this is going to be a flag. We have to decide which way wind is going to be going. There we go. That looks all right. And then I don't want to mess around with mesh or with a wavy mesh, not as in 3D model, but mesh as in, you know, like fabric. Can you see a quad from both sides? No, you can't. No, you can't. That's fine. Oh, fuck it. We'll do a prism. That'll work. 90 degrees that way, and that's a good wind direction. And then we can create, what is this? I'll just call this, because I want to say flag, but there's gonna be like a capture the flag game mode. Let's just call this base indicators, and we'll just create a little C# script. Call this base indicator. We'll just set a default material, which will be if it's free for all, and then we'll just have an int for team number. If team number is 1, we'll set it to team 1 color. Otherwise, we'll have 2. Okay. So this is what we're gonna want to put on our base indicator. We can put them where they need to go. Whoop. Okay, so you need to go one more that way and one more that way, and then we can just, you know, select all of the flags, set their team to 1, and then when we spawn in, the blue base will be decorated. Host a game, set it to planet. We're gonna spawn at the blue base, and it is not blue. I mean, we have a base, which is cool. It's still weird running around in this because the gravity technically changes when you get to the corners, and so it's still very round. Let's see. I mean, I guess these don't really have a material, do they? Oh, they don't have a visual. See, those are blue. Might be worth making them or like emit a certain color. So let's create a material. We'll call this base indicator. It still emits white unless we also change that color. So we want to set the emission map. Okay. Dot. So that's how you set the emission color, apparently. But now we have a base, and we should be able to see what sort of base it is easily. There we go. And that's blue. That's pretty blue. And we know it's blue. This is actually like super trippy. I think it's really cool. I like this concept a lot. But I could totally understand how it's like kind of, if you were gonna get motion sick, this is something that would kind of make you motion sick. All right, let's get a red base going, and then we're gonna need to. Then it's just like we're at the point where like bases are made mechanically. The map can work, so we just gotta do all of the stuff. Okay, red base. So we're just gonna do negative. Let's go look at it, because that's not what it's supposed to look like. So maybe let's flip this 180. That works. Okay, and now we can just go and move our red spawn points out. I think the number was 78 because we need to move them up 2 units. 78. All right. And then really quickly we can just change our flags to be red. And that should run. Oh. That one didn't want to work. But now we have our red, and on this side we have our blue. I think we need to rotate these. Let's actually just rotate it this way. So that's that. Let's move these into our level geometry. So we have our planet and our 2 bases. And now if we were to spawn on the red team, we should theoretically, spawn upside down. Nope, that is not, it's not at all. That's not at all what I meant to click. And let's go red team. Look at that. Now we're in the red team. Okay, it might be worth it to get some lighting over here because this is a little pathetic. Let me just really quickly go through the list. So I want to do a skybox. I want to fix the lighting, bake the lighting, and I want to set a material for the planet. Then that's pretty much this demo scene done at that point. Yeah. We have our death camera working, so that's fine. Yeah. Okay. I want to see just like let's close that one. Sphere, planet, texture, royalty free. Solar textures are in this solar system. Okay, well that one might be helpful just for the skybox. Save image as. So it's a JPEG, which is kind of cringe. Okay, well let's at least try and set the skybox. I want to see if that one texture would even look halfway decent. Let's get our lighting window out here. Okay, that doesn't work. Well, it's also not a cube map. I think if we were to look here, we'd end up with, yeah, no, nothing. Skybox. Also, if we even tried, yeah, it wouldn't want that. So skybox, panoramic. That actually works. That works better than I thought it would. I don't see any seams. Cool. Okay. I'm actually super cool with that. Oh, the fog actually makes it look lighter? Oh, that's insane. Okay, so then the fog fog needs to come off, and we need to have some sort of light source solution. So the fog needs to come off. That's fine. Okay, so now we need to figure out if the skybox texture is royalty free. yeah, I know it's download them for free, but I want to know, I need to find out. Like, obviously this is a demo map. But I need to find out if these are, like, what sort of royalties are here. Contact us. Well, let me copy that email address and I'll email them later. As a person, I need to start getting a little more on top of things that I have the rights to and things that I don't. Okay, let's make some materials. We're gonna call this planet texture, or plant. We're just gonna call this planet. Put it there. Where's the seam? It's gotta be a seam somewhere. Oh, you can barely notice the seam because of the projection. I like that one. And I kind of want to make it green. Oh, not that level of green. Just like a tint. Make it not smooth. Sweet. So now we have our planet and we have our skybox, which the editor seems to be having a time with the skybox. So now it's time to fix lighting. I mean, again, this is sort of like a demo map, so it can just be a point light that we should put. Okay, so range of like 25. I don't know what a cookie is. Set that to 3 and then let's bake it. And let's see how it looks. That kind of looks like still garbage. I mean, the other thing that we can do, and it's not exactly my favorite thing ever, is just we have one directional light. We can just, oh, that's not the one we want. We can just, so this needs to be 210, which just like evenly lights everything. And I guess could work. Okay, I'm also starting to get sick of this super normal mapped look. Ooh, you can see the little line of the two suns. Lighting parent. Because what you could do here, and this is just to look, is you could theoretically emulate like almost an orbit sort of effect. I don't know in like what physics situation that would ever be. Yeah, we'll I'm just gonna go with that for the lighting. Why do we have no shadows on the sides of blue base, but for red base, some of the sides are in shadows? I'm super glad that it's either not baking at all. Okay, I guess it's there. But yeah, is there anything else? Let's see. Lighting, bake the lighting, skybox material for planet. Other than sending an email to the people about licensing those textures. Because I don't assume that I'm going to end up with, like, I think I'll end up making something. Because, like, this is currently the art style of everything else. So if we have something that looks very Unreal Tournament-esque, then it sort of doesn't fit. But we now have a map we can test with. Look at that. You can also get like a time-lapse sort of effect just by walking around. Okay, well, other than I'm going to put some sort of point light in each of the bases, and then I'm going to just call it on this one. I swear, if it worked for the blue side but not the red side, I'm going to be pissed. Okay, it didn't work for that side. Let's start on the red side. Yeah. Okay, that actually looks alright. I mean, it still feels like a very basic prototype, but it looks alright. Okay, so I just finished actually making another map. So I made the cruisers map. So if you want to go check out that video, it is it's gonna be pretty cool. But in it, I realized that I was baking the light maps wrong. So now we actually have lighting data for the planet map, which is why I'm back here, and that video technically didn't end yet, because now, look at that, our little point light is in here. No way. The lighting is actually that broken. So yeah, we have our little planet map. If you want to see how I developed the planet walking, the flying, and the next one, the changing of gravity, the anything, the character controller, the loading screen, the how any of the fuck this is networked, go check out the devlogs. There should be a playlist on my channel. It's all super cool. This is probably the coolest thing I've ever made. I've been developing it for a while, and I will continue to be developing it for a while. If you like it, subscribe, check it out, and that'd be pretty cool. If you didn't like it, there's 100% something else on my channel that you will like, so just go dig around for a little bit. Alright. Also, if you didn't like it, why the fuck are you still here? Sorry, okay, that's it.